Hey, what is going on, guys? Kevin Goki back with another cryptocurrency video. This is going to be the beginner series again, where I'm going to go into more depth and detail into all the XRP use cases. If you haven't seen part one, where I cover Codius and the smart contract platform and just kind of, better explain it for anybody that's new to the space, go ahead and check that out. And again, let's get into this. So first off, thanks so much. And if you like what you see here and this information is valuable, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll do my very best to keep you guys updated. Didn't want to just read from all these articles and put out with the constant news. I just wanted to kind of do this as a beginner series because I truly think that a lot more people are going to be in the space in the near future. And right now, there's really not that many. And I think that the hype is going to drive a lot of XRP fans. So I just want to have these videos out now to serve as a foundation so that everybody's correctly informed. And I'm going to go over a few of the many use cases of XPRING. So I know it says XPRING, but it's actually pronounced Spring. I like it. I even call it XPRING sometimes just because it's, reminds me of the software products of Ripple, XRapid, XVIA, and XCurrent. But let's get into this. And obviously, I know that XRP's biggest use case is going to be solving the global liquidity issue and settlement. But besides that, I want you to comment down in the description what you think the biggest use case behind, obviously XRapid will be. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on the Interledger Protocol, all the blockchain technology, and XRP as a digital asset, and what kind of influence we're actually going to see in the next 10 to 20 years. And obviously, that's going to have a huge effect on the price. But all right, so I hate reading these articles, so I actually have some notes on the side. I'm going to go through them, hit some points, and we'll get through this quickly so you guys learn and, you take something away from this video. So first off, I do just want to explain, though, that in the near future, I do not see thousands of cryptocurrencies. I'm putting the majority of my crypto investments in some of the top cryptos that have a track record and history. And again, that's not financial advice. That's personally what I'm doing. I know some that invest in maybe some that are ranked, in a lot lower of a market cap. I just think that's a risky venture. But again, any project can succeed. So it's very possible, but XRP, honestly, I see this as being one of the largest and most successful, obviously, if you haven't seen the platform already, if not being the #1 cryptocurrency in the world. So if you've done the research, if you really have looked into this and every other project and compared, I just don't think there's anything like it. I'm also a fan of a lot of other cryptocurrencies, and I know others might judge me for, being a fan of some others, but hey, I also am a fan of diversification, but with something like an asset like this, I personally don't blame you if you don't want to diversify. But with that, let's get into this. So, I'm going to call it XPRING, but it's really pronounced Spring. This article's back in May. Obviously, this product, or this news, came back in spring, which is the initiative. And again, this is just an initiative that's been taken out to help fund a lot of startups and entrepreneurs that are coming into the space. And obviously, I do like this right here. Ripple, they want to act as the proverbial spring for the most serious startups and entrepreneurs to allow them to really get that business off the ground. So what are they going to be doing here? Well, they're going to be using XRP's decentralized platform, its endless scalability, and speed as a foundation for many of these entrepreneurs and startups to take off. So Spring actually already has roughly 100 projects in the works already and could easily be one of the many catalysts to a significant price increase in the future driven by actual utility. So what specifically will these startups be using? Again, they're going to be using XRP and the XRP ledger, which is entirely open sourced and decentralized. Now, I want you to think about the internet. It was, disruptive. And this XRP ledger and XRP is going to be kind of the same concept. Now, we didn't foresee, we saw the internet, we saw email, and that's about it. But now if you look at all of the use cases, this is where we're going for our news, our content, entertainment, video games. I mean, you name it. Even just working. Can you imagine the actual, economy without this type of speed of communication? Well, the internet was for data, and this is going to be the internet of value. So, I mean, this can get as creative as we want. I think the guys in Silicon Valley are going to truly take advantage of this, and I do think that blockchain is revolutionary. And I think that this innovation is going to drive towards a lot of use cases that we haven't even dreamt of yet. And a side thought really quick, I'm just thinking of Uber. So there's been a lot of thoughts in the XRP space, at least the community, on Uber and Ripple using XRP and, forming some sort of partnership. Entirely possible. However, I know everyone, obviously Uber drivers don't get paid immediately, and I don't think that's just what Ripple XRP would actually solve. I do not think XRP is just going to solve Uber drivers to get paid immediately. What I think's where the real value lies is on the settlement end, on the back end for, all the creditors as well. That's the real use case for XRP, and that's where I think the most value is going to be added, so there's not all these liquidity costs. I know up front it sounds, simple to explain to a friend that, oh yeah, it'll just pay the Uber drivers quickly. That's not the true use case. It's going to be solving a problem that's much greater than that, and it's going to have a lot more value as well. But anyways, sorry about that tangent, but I definitely just want you to think about XRP as a foundational layer. It's truly with all the central banks. And if you've, seen a lot of the website and Ripple and you've done some research into the white paper and just everything about the news of the company, they use kind of an OSI model. And if you don't know what that is, just disregard that. But let me kind of explain where Ripple XRP, where Ripple the company is truly going to use XRP to benefit humanity. So think of the very top level of this pyramid as the application layer. And the application layer are all the front-end applications like PayPal, Stripe, Square. They interface with consumers and businesses to complete transactions. Underneath all of those applications, the banks lie. There's also institutions. They're holding these assets. They custody the assets. So it goes application layer, then it goes to the banks and institutions. And then we're going more so to the third layer of all the core banking infrastructure, the interbank infrastructure where all the regulatory compliance and things of that nature and, typical standards and governance lie. Underneath that contains the messaging standards like Swift codes and Visa messages. So Swift, okay? And then the fifth layer, think of this as where Ripple is, the settlement infrastructure, the true foundation of everything that's run by all these central banks domestically and correspondent banks internationally. Ripple's right here. Now, we have to realize in the big picture, this is not outlandish at all. This is Ripple's mission. If we can integrate the back end, and there's lots of speculation that Ripple already has connections and relationships already with said central banks, I truly believe mass adoption in the global liquidity sense is entirely possible. The price of XRP will grow to unforeseen levels. You just cannot predict it. I know that we've heard, what was it in the past, and please do your research with this statement I'm about to say, but I've also heard that I think it was David Schwartz saying that they'd like XRP to be a minimum of $20 to even start working well. So it's been stated, and I've done a video in the past explaining that XRP has to have a high price to be successful. And if you've already seen the track record and the progress that this company is making, 3 digits, even 4 digits is not unlikely. So I know everyone wants 589 right now. They want it by end of year, by December 31st. But I'm truly prepared to wait the years and years for the true progress to be made. Rome wasn't built in a day. DM Logic, shout out to you. He's reminded us that a watched pot never boils. So sit back. I truly want, my viewers to have realistic expectations, but I also want them to have hope and be amazed because this investment is a vehicle to really allow you to create. I believe we're all going to be sitting on wealth depending on how patient you really are and tolerant. But anyways, let's get back to this. So, let's go into some of the use cases of XPRING, aka XPRING, because I keep calling it that. So obviously, we have Coil, all of this, I'll be brief. But basically, all of these initiatives like Coil, SV projects, Omni, they're helping economies monetize their efforts. So for example, Coil, if you don't know, promotes XRP donations from internet users. So it's really decentralized to allow freedom of information so that content creators no longer have to be censored on whatever medium they use. If you're on YouTube and you're talking bad about YouTube, they might get rid of your video. But with Coil, it will allow in a decentralized space for you to actually still get monetized and still get paid, and you don't have to worry about being censored on whatever medium you so choose. So I believe that subscribers of Coil pay a small monthly fee, and whatever websites or wherever they are, spending the most time, portions of that monthly fee go to the content creators to reward them. Okay, so pretty interesting. And there was a quote, let me see, while web monetization is merely a draft version of a new standard at present, it forms the basis for supporting a new kind of internet, one in which content creators can be rewarded for their services, applications, and creations without having to rely on a privacy-destroying web advertising, or rely on privacy-destroying web advertising. So they can really go to a decentralized internet, and I think that Coil is far ahead of its time, and it's preparing. So then when we are at that point someday, which I think we'll migrate to at least, and it might even fork, and you can have the option to go to a centralized or decentralized platform based off of, your importance. That's true. I know that a lot of people value privacy. One of the guys I follow, Gary Vaynerchuk, disagrees. He thinks that a lot of us act like we value privacy, but we really don't. I mean, we're sharing our thoughts with the world. We have all kinds of social media, and at least young kids do not value their privacy. They might be convinced they do, but they really don't. So that's just another Kevin Goki rant. But okay, we'll go to another thing. XRP TipBot. Or no, this is Omni. Let's cover TipBot really quick. So TipBot obviously is pretty cool. It's relatively on the newer side of things. So basically, it will allow you to send and receive tips on Reddit, Twitter, Discord, even YouTube. So it's very, very cool. If you can already see the interest that's been showing here, over 30,000 unique visitors have come to the website, xrptipbot.com, in the past 24 hours. So definitely a lot of interest already. And again, this might be small in the scheme of things, but thanks to different designers that have created this, shout out to this guy. I mean, I just think that we're planting a bunch of seeds. So you can, send tips, receive tips. What am I saying? But it's very, very interesting. So, they're really spreading themselves out. And I think as long as they don't spread themselves too thin, they're going to be in the right place to succeed. So let's cover SP Projects really quick. So pretty cool website. I really like their mission statement. And SP Projects basically is planning to use XRP to monetize artists' content. So whether that's TV, music, or anything like that. I truly think that this is going to be great. You can just go to this website again, or you can just type in SP Projects in Google, and you can kind of check this website out. And just the thought that, a company this large is going to be using XRP, and they're really wanting to move towards a decentralized platform and Interledger Protocol that has scalability and a proven track record, XRP is the way to go. And let's cover Omni, which I think is fascinating. And I know you guys have already had some coverage over this if you kind of look into it. But there's a very, very cool quote by the CEO and founder of Omni. And he actually said this in one of his recent interviews. He said, "I think any business scaling today has to have a cryptocurrency strategy. For us, this is the beginning." So very, very cool to hear a reputable, here it is, here's the quote, just in case you didn't believe me, say this. And it's really just justifying the space overall. And look right here, they've already managed to raise about $25 million US in XRP tokens. So this is just one use case, Omni, very, very cool. And in case you don't know what it is, I'll try to kind of explain it in layman's terms. So basically, Omni's now starting to allow individuals to get paid in XRP tokens when they lend out materials to the associated users. So if you rent out maybe a bike or some silverware or something that you just don't need, you'll be paid on the app in US dollars, but when you withdraw, you actually have the option to withdraw directly into XRP, so you can invest into XRP, or you can just take your US dollars and go. And I just think that option is phenomenal. Obviously right now I would just be getting XRP by the dozens, so if you have anything you're not using, maybe a nice bicycle, definitely allow them to hold on to that for storage. There was something down here. Let me see. Okay, yep, so right here. So it's a self-storage startup company. So they actually, storage service company, and they really just want to change the traditional self-storage ecosystem. So very, very interesting. So they're going to allow users to store their products for a flat, convenient monthly fee This is an awesome business model. I seriously wish I thought of this and implemented it. But again, and also allowing the very same products to be rented out to strangers. By doing this, they assist their customers to earn money on the items that include fancy bikes and many others. So if you have some junk that's actually pretty good, a good store of value that's just taking up space and other people could be using it, I highly recommend checking out Omni. Very cool application. And I just think that this is one of the many use cases and creativity that's going to be coming for a lot of startups in the future. And then last but not least, we're going to cover blockchain capital. So again, we're going to see that 25 million. Ripple invests $25 million worth of XRP into blockchain capital. And this was back in the spring. Old news, but I do want to cover it just to emphasize that things are constantly happening in the space. And just imagine the progress they've made back from April to now. So according to Ripple, blockchain capital will be focusing on investing in entrepreneurial teams that are building businesses on blockchain technology. The investments in blockchain capital enables Ripple to develop inroads with entrepreneurs and companies focused on other use cases, including those that use the XRP ledger and Interledger Protocol. So as you guys can see, XPRING is only one of the many XRP use cases that'll and I'm going to be continuing to make videos on these. Please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below, as well as what you want to see in the next video. Thanks so much for those of you that stuck around this far, and until next time.